Hey, what's up, guys? Look, if you're trying to get unlimited funding from like Wells Fargo, Bank of America, American Express, then I would definitely tell you to follow this formula. Many of you all know that I've been in the business industry over 2 decades, okay? And I done raised a lot of money and I done helped build a lot of companies. One of the things about it, I tell everybody that it's a formula, and if you follow this simple formula, you should not have to worry about funding. And the best part about it, you do not have to have a perfect credit score, all right? So don't think that, oh, I have to be in the 700s. That's not true, but you do need to follow the formula, all right? And so let me break down this formula, and I'm gonna actually share with you some of these, what this means, okay? I'm going to share with you what this means, but the formula that you need to follow is understanding the type of business. Now, when I say the type of business, I'm talking about what type of business are you doing? All right, most people say they want to get into real estate. Well, that being high risk, we already know that. We know that transportation is high risk, logistics is high risk, consulting can fall under high risk, okay? A lot of people don't know that. I know a lot of people out in the community say, oh, start a consulting business or whatever. This can be a high risk. ATM business, a vending machine business, those are high risk type of businesses, okay? And so when you have those type of business, or even the name real estate in your business name, or transportation in your business name, or logistics in your business name, again, this can possibly trigger a automatic denial with certain institutions, all right? And most people are not even aware of that. So I just wanted to bring you to that understanding. The next thing is your business structure. This is so important, all right? Because most people, they go for an LLC. Most people, and the reason they do it, because a lot of people, they may go to these big box companies to get their company formed. They may hear some attorneys, some CPAs and stuff, and they'll tell them, oh, just start an LLC, right? And the reason they're doing that is so that you can hide from the IRS. They're not looking at you as a growth company. So that's the reason why when we choose to structure your business, we make sure we position you as a growth company. So that way you can get the maximum amount of funding. Plus, if you need to take a loss, because certain structures, you can't get a tax refund. But they won't tell you that. They don't explain that. However, the structure we put you in, if you take a loss, the IRS ends up giving you a tax refund. Okay, so if you need help with properly structuring your business or restructuring your business, then reach out to us. Click the link in the description for that. But it's very important, the structure of your business, so that you can look like a growth company. All right, now, next thing is talking about the business bank account. It matters, okay? It really matters. And a lot of people think that, oh, I just started this business. And if you seen the recent video I put out, I was telling you there's certain banks you do not want to start a business bank account. And people go over there because they may be in check systems, or they may be in early warning systems. So your traditional banks won't open up a business bank account. So that's the reason why I was telling you, like the Bank Relay, Blue Vine, those type of bank accounts and stuff can really do you harm. The only time that they're good is actually when you do have an actual loan with them. However, you have to have high revenue. I'm trying to put you in a position where you don't have to have high revenue. You can have low revenue and still be able to get qualified for unlimited funding. It's just a formula, all right? Now, number 4 is talking about business deposits. Your business deposits matter, okay? And the relationship matters. That's the reason I always talk about relationship, relationship, relationship. And the reason I tell you guys this is, even if you don't have that strong 700 credit score or whatever, The relationship matters. How many accounts you having? What are your deposits like? Now, one of the things that cut off on the video that I had recently put out about PNC Bank, I was telling you all about the $10,000 trick, right? So the $10,000 trick or hack, however you want to have it, the $10,000 hack is where you take $10,000 and you put it into the business bank account, okay? And you leave it there for 90 days, okay? And you make regular small deposits behind this on a weekly basis, okay? So this helps with your business bank rating. Again, the key point, I say it, at least 90 days, okay? It has to be 90 days or more, all right, in order for this to benefit you. All right, so that's the reason why I was telling you guys the deposits matter, okay? And some people, they will get it wrong because they'll put in a one big lump sum and then they won't do anything else. You don't want to do that, all right? It's either better, like that $10,000, you break it up and deposit over 90 days, like weekly deposits of that $10,000, okay? So you can do that as well, long as there's consistency of deposits and also having multiple accounts with different institutions, all right? So that's the reason why you understand the formula. You'll always be able to get access to funding without showing financials, without showing taxes, okay? So that's the reason why I'm telling you this, all right? Now, let's talk about these here three for the funding. So you have your credit cards, you have your lines of credit, and you have your loans. If I'm doing a good job, leave a comment, share the video, and I always ask you to hype up the video because a lot of people are not seeing my new videos. So a lot of the people that can utilize my information, if you care about them, would you share the video if you find any benefit in it and put a comment below. If you need to reach us, again, click the link in the description, schedule a one-on-one consultation. Going back to what I was saying about the credit card, lines of credit, and loans, all right? Now, there's a specific formula, all right, that I always tell people. Look, when you are going for funding, a lot of people, they want to run straight to the majors, right? And I tell you, do not do that. The first ones you want to start with is your credit unions. So, with your credit unions, some of my top credit unions that I look at is like Navy, right? So with Navy, they do a FICO 9, okay? They do a FICO 9 Experian. Then you have NIH. So they do an Equifax 5, okay? So they do an Equifax 5. Then you have Consumer. Consumer, now with their credit cards, they use a FICO 9. Okay, excuse me. They do a FICO 9. And that FICO 9 card is actually coming from Elon Financial. Okay, and there's a backdoor hack to this as well. And I'm going to explain it if you stick around in the video. Now, that's your first layer of funding. All right, then your second layer of funding is going to be your community banks and your regional. Okay. So your community bank and your regional banks. So with your community banks and your regional banks, I'm talking about like a regional bank, right? You have regional, you have Citizens, and you have Truist, okay? So you have Citizens, regional, Citizens, and Truist, okay? These are your second layer, all right? Then you have your fintech, okay, for the credit cards. These ones for the credit cards, on the credit cards. Now, with your fintechs, again, if you're just trying to do like EIN, just trying to get some funding and stuff like that, then you're going to be looking at like Capital on Tap, okay? You're going to be looking at Bill.com, okay? Then you'll be looking at Fair Figure, okay? So you have Capital on Top, Bill.com, Fair Figure. Bill.com used to be Divvy, all right? So in terms of EIN only funding, because you have revenue in the business, Would be your third tier funding. All right. Then your fourth tier funding, that's going to be your major banks. Okay. So you would have Amex. All right. So you have Amex because once you have a business credit card and a personal credit card with Amex, guess what? There's no more hard inquiries on your personal credit. All right. Then you have U.S. Bank. Okay. U.S. Bank is a FICO 9. Right. So they may pull TransUnion, Experian, depending on the region you're in. Then you have Wells Fargo. That's a FICO 9 Experian as well. So that's your tiers. This is how you actually start with your funding. All right. You don't need net 30s. You don't need a DUNS number. Okay. You don't need a 700 credit score. Right. You don't need that. So now, talking about the business lines of credit. So when you go for the business lines of credit, again, you have major banks, which is Wells Fargo. Okay. The reason is because with their business line of credit, all you need is a 680 credit score. The same as with U.S. Bank. Now, remember I was talking about the credit union, consumer credit union that uses Elon financial cards? Well, if you get into, say, you open up your business checking account with U.S. Bank, this is the back door to getting higher limits with the Elon financial business credit cards. Okay? And you don't pay any interest on those credit cards up to 18 months. So that's a back door that a lot of people are not even aware of. All right? That being said, you have DreamSpring. Now with DreamSpring, guess what? They are a CDFI, Community Development Financial Institute, funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates. All right, they have a $50,000 business line of credit, and all you need is a 620. All you need is a 620 to get qualified with them. Again, if you need help structuring and figuring out how to restore your credit and business funding and stuff, click the link in the description. Schedule a one-on-one consultation. Then you have Amex, right? So Amex will give you a business line of credit after you have a business credit card with them for 1 year. Then you have PayPal, okay? So you have PayPal. They have two different programs, right? So you have your loan builder and then your working capital, which I'll talk about in a minute, right? Then you have PNC. So with PNC, again, with the PNC goes up to 100,000. They use Experian FICO 9, okay? So credit card is your first level. Then your second level is your lines of credit, all right? This is unlimited funding, okay? Without a perfect credit score, without a 700 credit score, all right? Now, talk about the loan, all right? So with BHG, okay, Business Health Group, okay? So with Business Health Group, they will give you funding, no revenue in the business, all right? Then, you have PayPal. They have a loan for you. And again, you don't have to make a lot of revenue. Like, I think it's what, 30,000 a year or something like that? It's very small, so you don't have to make a whole lot of money, all right? Then you have your MCA. So you have like Lendeska, okay? So with Lendeska, this is when you have like bad credit but revenue coming into business. So with Lendeska, all you need is a 550, and they go up to 25K, right? Then you have Giggle. You have Giggle Finance, and they look at the revenue in the business, so you can have bad credit with them. Guess what? They go up to 15. As a matter of fact, I think they don't even increase it higher. Because they always raising it. Was 5, they went to 10, and now, like I said, last time I checked, it was 15. Then you have Fundo, okay? So with Fundo, all right? So with Fundo, again, all you have to do is meet the basic criteria. With Giggle and Fundo, all you have to make is $1,500 a month, okay? They even fund MLM. So if you're in an MLM, guess what? They'll give you a loan. All right? So that's what I'm saying. It's a lot of these. Look at those arms. Y'all like them arms? I'm getting them together for y'all. Anyway, with Fundo, it's $10,000. All right? So Fundo is $10,000. Then one bank that I wanted to add, and that I think is a very good bank, it's a regional bank, BMO. Okay? So they use TransUnion Vantage 4. TransUnion Vantage 4. Okay? So now you have, this is your plan. If you follow this plan, you can get unlimited funding following this plan. Again, if you need help, put a link in the click the link in the description. Schedule a one-on-one consultation. Okay? You'll talk directly with me. All right? And let's figure out how to get you the funding. Again, like I said, well, a lot of times people may be struggling with the credit, need some things removed from the credit. We offer mortgage trade lines. We offer authorized users, whatever it is to help boost up the credit. All right. So we are able to help you. All right. So if you have any questions, again, click the link in the description. Again, leave a comment. Let me know if you find any value in this. Thank you.